Hi, I'm Jim,
And I'm Mary.
and this is our strategic plan for Zevia Soft Drink Company. Zevia is a better for you beverage. They are drinks that prioritize health without sacrificing flavor. These beverages contain natural ingredients, functional benefits, and low sugar content, appealing to the health conscious consumers. Executive summary for Zevia. Zevia is a fast growing beverage company that creates markets and sells zero sugar, naturally sweetened drinks positioned in the better for you options within the global carbonated soft drink market. The strategic plan we are presenting will focus on carbonated soft drink products because that is the core of Zevia. Carbonated soft drinks make up 95% of Zevia's sales. In this plan, we will outline Zevia's mission, vision, and values, along with its market position and growth trajectory.
So Zevia was started in 2007 by Derek and Jessica Newman and their friend Ian Eisenberg. They had a diet soda addiction and wanted to break free from all of the artificial ingredients that were in these sodas. So they began experimenting in their kitchen using stevia as a sweetener, even though stevia had not yet been approved by the FDA for consumption in beverages. Once that happened in 2008, they began selling Zevia online and then in retail stores such as Whole Foods, which is where Patty Spence discovered it in 2010 and decided to purchase the company for $3 million. By 2019, Zevia sold over 1 billion cans of soda. And in 2021, Zevia went public on the New York Stock Exchange and raised $150 million in its IPO. In 2021, the company was valued at nearly $1 billion. And in 2022, Amy Taylor became the new CEO, and she is still currently the CEO of Zevia.
All right, the mission and vision. Zevia is a company that was founded as a mission based company. It is guided by our mission to create the world better for you flavor, better for people, and better for the planet. It's a certified B Corporation, which means they integrate social and environmental priorities into the governance and brand philosophy. The values our products are developed to help consumers reduce their sugar intake. We estimate that by choosing Zevia, we have helped our customers avoid over 79,000 metric tons of sugar in their diet since 2011. In addition to this, Zevia is only sold in aluminum cans. We estimate that we have saved over 30 million metric tons of plastic, and consumption of our products has resulted in the avoidance of over 1 billion plastic bottles since 2011. So, Zevia set out to make zero sugar soda that breaks away from all things fake. No fake flavors, no fake sweeteners, no fake colors. As a B Corp, we're dedicated to creating a world better for you. Flavors that are better for people and products better for the planet.
So Zevia's target market is generally younger consumers between the ages of 18 to 43 years old. However, it does also appeal to families and older adults for that zero sugar quality. Zevia attracts a wide range of income levels with premium brands targeting the high income consumers. Health conscious individuals who are seeking to get rid of that zero sugar, have zero sugar and get rid of all this artificial icky stuff in traditional diet sodas. They're also seeking or targeting consumers who like eco-friendly packaging and sustainability practices. And they're targeting consumers that are looking for that on-the-go option of having a quick, easy-to-grab soda and take it to run and go do their errands or whatever. There's higher consumption in urban areas due to the convenience and availability of many options. And in North America, cola flavored is king for sodas, and they kind of focus heavily on that cola flavor. Their major products, as we said, are sodas, which are sold in 12-ounce cans, either in 8, 12, or 24 packs, as available as single flavors or variety packs. Currently, there are 20 flavors of soda. My current favorite here is grape, which I'm drinking. They also have a line of energy drinks and organic teas, which are sold in the 12-ounce slim cans in 12 packs. There are 8 flavors of energy drinks and 6 flavors of the organic tea. What are you drinking?
The creamsicle.
Yep.
Love it.
All right. So our RBV stands for Resource-Based View, which is a strategic framework that analyzes the internal resources to identify a competitive advantage for companies. So a few things to note about Zevia is they're kind of unique in that they don't own any of their own bottling plants. They rely on a network of third-party manufacturers and packagers to make their products. This makes Zevia a very highly asset-light business model, which has relatively few tangible assets. We are going to talk about the first 5 on this list, but other ones also include office equipment, and computer equipment, and IT equipment, furnitures and fixtures, stock, short-term investments, and their company vehicles. So part of the RBV is the VRIO framework, which looks at their assets and determines if they're valuable, rare, hard to imitate, and if the company is organized to capture the full value of those resources. So looking at all of these things will help Zevia create that sustainable competitive edge. So the first one we're going to talk about are cash and cash equivalents. So cash is a liquid asset that can be quickly used in their business, and it allows them to operate without relying on debt. So that makes it very valuable. Cash is not rare, and cash is not hard to imitate. Zevia uses its liquid cash assets to support its business without actually owning any physical assets. Accounts receivable are what other companies owe to Zevia. So accounts receivable can quickly be turned into cash to support its day-to-day operations and provide cash flow stability. This makes it less reliant on debt and makes it valuable. So accounts receivable itself is not rare. Having these accounts helps create long-standing relationships with retailers. It's also not hard to imitate because any company can extend credit to retailers and have accounts receivable. However, what would be hard to imitate are the relationships that Zevia has built with their major retailers. Zevia is organized to capture this value because of all the way that they operate with this asset-light business model. So because they rely on third-party manufacturers, it's critical that they collect money quickly and follow strict invoice policies. So inventory of finished products are the ready-to-drink beverages that they send to retailers and e-commerce platforms. It's one of the few tangible resources that they have direct control of. So inventory is an asset that can be liquidated easily, which makes it valuable because they need to keep retailers stocked with their products. It's not rare because every company has to have inventory, and Zevia is able to forecast sales to maintain reliable inventory amounts. Inventory itself of soda is not hard to imitate, but their brand-driven consumer pull reduces inventory risk. Customers who want to purchase Zevia as a better-for-you product might not be willing to purchase direct diet soda brands, so competitors can easily produce similar variations. Zevia is organized to capture value because they rely on those third-party companies to manufacture and package their products. It's essential that they have the correct amounts of products in stock to support proper inventory. Lease and leasehold improvements are the enhancements paid for by a tenant to a leased space. Zevia uses leased space to run their business. It's valuable because they don't have any manufacturing, but they use those leased spaces. That's where the team works to build the company and work on the marketing strategies and run the day-to-day operations. So leasing space is not rare. Many companies lease rather than own, and lease spaces are available on almost every commercial market, which means it's not hard to imitate. They are organized to capture value because they use that office environment to support its asset-light model and manage brand operations. So inventory of the raw and packaging materials is very valuable because it allows them to fulfill orders without interrupting production. It helps them avoid delays and maintain consistent quality of its products. Having the right materials at the right time is essential to maintain the shelf presence and build their brand reliability. Again, the inventory is not rare because it's used in many products. Any beverage can source these same products. Raw materials are not hard to imitate because those products are common. And Zevia is organized to capture value because they use those materials to maintain consistent quality of products, coordinate production with the third-party partners, and avoid production interruptions.
Okay, RBV. Now we're looking at intangible assets, which would be basically where Zevia lives is in the intangible world. They don't, as Mary pointed out, they do not have they don't have their own production facilities. We don't have their own warehouses, so they really are a very intangible corporation. We will talk about the top 5 a little more in the VRIO. But the other ones that we found were their trademarks, their manufacturing contracts, production formulation, and goodwill, intellectual property, and customer relations. So there's a few of the other intangibles that they have. So moving on to the tangible assets, you can see them listed here. These are the things that, again, they're not things that Zevia could turn around and sell quickly and make profit off of. These are things that are valuable to Zevia, but they don't bring a dollar amount with them necessarily. So moving on to our first one is brand recognition. Is brand recognition valuable? Absolutely, because if your customers don't recognize your brand, then they're not going to know what to buy. So brand recognition is highly valuable as they work to drive demand in a crowded beverage market. Is it rare? Well, it is. Zevia's brand recognition is relatively rare because it was an early entrant into the better for you. I guess you look at it this way: is that Coke and Pepsi and all the other big brands, they are kind of recognized as having been built in the high sugar content, which people are trying to get away from, and people recognize even their diet versions as having not so great stuff in it. Where Zevia is built so the rarity is there. Is it hard to imitate? Not really. Other companies can produce a similar product, but it is hard to imitate. The brand recognition is hard to imitate. It's because they built their credibility in that area. Are they organized to capture it? Yes, because they emphasize all the time it's the better for you product, so they're capturing that value. Next one is brand equity. Into the better for you segment. It kind of relates to what we were talking about there, but Zevia focuses on no sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and non-GMO in a single focus platform. Zevia is a beverage brand on a mission to create a world that's better for you, flavors that's better for people and for the planet. Brand equity is the segment that is valuable because consumers want the natural zero sugar alternatives. Zevia is one of the rare brands that combines the elements of zero sugar using the stevia as a sweetener and no artificial ingredients. It is hard to imitate partially. Again, it's something that you have to build, and Zevia has built it already, so it's not impossible, but it would be partially hard to imitate that. And are they capturing the value? Yeah, partially. They're organized to capture value through strong relationship built with national retailers, marketing, packaging, brand identity, and mission-driven values. Company culture. Is it valuable? Yes, because they have a very positive company culture when we look at the different surveys and stuff that have been done. And is that the culture is valuable because it reinforces a strong mission alignment around health, transparency, and clean ingredients. Is it rare? Yes, the company culture is rare because very few beverage companies base their entire business on this better for you approach. Is it hard to imitate? Parts of the culture can be very hard to copy or to imitate, as their early commitment is to this clean label and zero sugar beverages. And are they capturing the value of it? Yes, they do work to capture the value. They have a good workforce and they utilize that. The domain name, it's an intangible asset, and is a domain name valuable? Yes, because this is where the customer goes when they want to find out about the product. They know that that's the name is the name of the business. So, is it rare? No, because it is rare from the standpoint that you create the domain name that you need, and it is the only one. It's totally unique, and nobody can copy it. It is legally registered to the company. Is it hard to imitate? It's not. You can't imitate it. So yes, it is hard to imitate. And is the organization capturing the value of it, organized to capture value? Yes, because they use the brand name, their domain name to. That's where people go to get their information about the company. And yes, they are utilizing that. Retail and e-commerce distribution relationships. This is perhaps one of their most strategically important intangible assets, simply because Zevia has this very dependent on third party for both manufacturing and distribution. So this is very important for them. The relationship with the e-commerce partners is significant because it gives Zevia national shelf presence in brick and mortar stores like Walmart and Kroger, and access to well-known e-commerce such as Amazon. There are few emerging brands that have achieved this level of access. So it is rare. Is it hard to imitate? Yes, because Zevia has built this, and to build that kind of trust and loyalty, that takes time. And so Zevia has that done already, has that legwork done. So it is very hard to imitate. Are they capturing the value? Yes, they are definitely utilizing it to their advantage to maintain this light asset company. So if they weren't doing that, they would have to own their own equipment and their own distribution. So yes, they are capturing it. So organizational structure. The company has 6 individuals that make up the executive leadership team. These 6 individuals are responsible for the day-to-day operations at the Zevia Corporation. They have a board of directors, and the board of directors oversees this executive leadership team and ensures that the company maintains its values and mission-based operations. The board does this by holding the executive leadership team to high ethical standards and making sure that they are in compliance with all 8 of the governance documents that Zevia has. So looking at our leadership team, we start with our CEO, and that is Amy Taylor. She's been in that position since 2022, and she's also been the president since 2021. She is now on the Zevia Board of Directors, where she has been contributing since March of 21. Taylor spent 20 years prior to coming to Zevia with the Red Bull Corporation. Her combination of strategic vision, operation leadership, and deep industry experience positions her at the center of Zevia's efforts to scale, strengthen profitability, and expand its presence in the better-for-you beverage market. As CEO, Taylor drives long-term strategy. Our next person is Girish Satya. He is the CFO, so he's in charge of the financials. He joined Zevia in February of 2024. Satya ensures accurate financial reporting, SEC compliance, and internal controls. His experience positions him as a key driver of Zevia's efforts to navigate competitive pressures, enhance financial rigor, and support the company's next phase of growth. And the next one on our list is the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer, Kristen Suarez. Kristen Suarez is the Senior Vice President, Marketing and Chief Marketing Officer, a role she has held since August of 2023. She leads the company's marketing strategy, brand development, and consumer engagement initiatives. Suarez has more than 20 years' experience in brand building, integrated marketing, product innovation, and general management across consumer brands.
Next, we have Bill Williamson, who is the Senior Vice President of Operations and the Chief Supply Chain Officer. He came to Zevia in 2023 with a bachelor's degree from Texas Tech University. He also comes from a beverage background, previously working at Monster Energy and Pabst Brewing Company. He's brought more than 25 years of operations and supply chain leadership experience across the beverage and consumer packaged goods sectors. He has a track record of driving transformation and operational excellence, which positions him as a key contributor to Zevia's long-term scalability and performance. Next, we've got Frito Guarino, Senior Vice President of Sales and Chief Commercial Officer. So he came to Zevia in 2022, initially leading commercial strategy, and then began in his current role in July of 2024. He also comes from a beverage background, previously working at Anheuser-Busch and Red Bull as well. With more than 20 years of experience in the beverage industry, he brings deep expertise in sales leadership, strategic planning, business expansion, and trade marketing. And lastly, we have Stephen Stays, General Counsel and Vice President of People. He joined Zevia in 2025 and oversees the CEO, or advises the CEO and the board on legal practices. He also oversees human resources and leads the people strategy. He has an extensive background that includes decades of legal practice with expertise spanning corporate law, regulatory compliance, and executive level advisory work.
All right, take a look at those the 6 individuals there, our leadership team. We're looking at their strengths. Zevia's leadership team has strengths in a lot of areas. Beverage industry, you see quite a few of them had that in their background. Some from Red Bull, Pabst. There's a lot of even Monster Energy was mentioned in there. So they have a strong beverage industry experience. Commercial operations, supply chain and route to market execution, brand building, consumer marketing, financial and operations discipline, governance and legal and people operations. The leadership team is well aligned in these areas to compete in the traditional beverage market.
So we're going to talk about trust between consumers, employees, and the general public. So we just heard about their leadership hires, and they, even though they're a small company, the fact that they were able to get the employee from Red Bull says that they signal stability and competence, and it strengthens organizational trust. So being a public benefit corporation means that they're legally committed to shareholder value, balancing shareholder values with social and consumer impact. So this also fosters trust amongst employees, investors, and consumers. And because CEO Amy Taylor has a transformational leadership approach, signifies that she has a clear strategic direction towards the company and builds confidence in decision making. From an employee standpoint, Comparably.com shows that out of 849 employee reviews, they have a 97% positive rating, which speaks volumes. I mean, you're always going to have disgruntled employees, but 97% is pretty high for a company. And consumer reviews offer a lot of insight into whether or not they trust a company. And if you go on Amazon.com and look at a multitude of Zevia's products, all of them have a 4.0 rating or above, and some of those products have reviews of over 4.5 thousand. In 2020, Comparably awarded Zevia 4 different awards, including Best Place to Work, Best CEO for Diversity, Best Company for Professional Development, and Best Leadership. So these awards were determined by anonymous surveys. So that says a lot that people trust Zevia. And a lot of that ties into their ethical policies. So again, as we mentioned, the public benefit corporation structure requires them to consider the environmental, consumer, and community impact when making decisions. It's not just about profitability. So the company's product philosophy emphasizes transparency and consumer health, which reinforces their ethical brand identity. The Certified B Corporation means they integrate social and environmental policies. And Zevia seeks to create products to help consumers reduce their sugar intake. They want to make the world a better place with every drink by using recyclable cans and using sustainable packaging.
Okay, well, we heard about a lot of the strengths of the company, and they have a lot of strengths there. But part of our strategic plan here, we want to find out where there's some gaps. So this is a skill gap, and this is the first one that we saw was a lack of a digital leadership. The leadership team at Zevia has a lot of skills in the beverage industry, but very little mention of digital skills. The leadership team could benefit from some digital native representation. The lack of digital leadership limits the company's ability to compete in a marketplace where digital engagement heavily influences brand awareness and consumer behavior. This has resulted in inconsistent messaging across multiple platforms. Without having a digital leader, they struggle to optimize paid media, strengthen e-commerce performance, or capitalize on consumer trends. Another skill gap that we noticed was data science leadership. Zevia currently lacks dedicated data science leader and cohesive analytics strategy, limiting the company's ability to make informed, data-driven decisions across marketing, sales, supply chain, and innovation. This gap results in missed opportunities to optimize pricing, forecast demand, improve retail velocity, and understand consumer behavior at a deeper level. Lack of innovation and product development leadership, so like research and development here. Although Zevia has leadership in depth of expanding sales, growing companies, and brand building, the leadership team does not have anyone that has a strong background in research and development. A leader that could focus on innovation could help the company attract new customers by adding new flavors and improving the current products. Zevia currently lacks a dedicated leader to drive initiative and oversee product development, which limits the company's ability to expand its product offerings and respond quickly to shifting consumer trends. This gap results in slower flavor development and limited category expansion.
All right, so now we've identified some skills gaps. Let's switch gears for a little bit and talk about the industry and market analysis. So this chart here shows the global soft drink market, and in 2021, it was valued at $416.2 billion and is projected to grow by 2028 to $592.9 billion. So increasing disposable income, evolving consumer lifestyles, and demographic growth are key drivers of this growth. Demand for clean label, gluten-free, low-calorie, and low-carb products continues to propel the market, and strong millennial engagement and expanded research and development spending are expected to reinforce this upward trend. So this chart shows, again, the global soft drink market. 70% of consumers prefer carbonated soft drinks to non-carbonated soft drinks. And this one shows the United States is set to dominate the soft drink market with the highest revenue by 2029 compared to other countries. So you can see how much more revenue the U.S. is going to generate compared to other companies. However, their growth rate is much slower compared to somebody like China, who's going to grow at 4.6%, where the U.S. is only going to grow at 1.9%. And in the United States, 21% of the people, of all the liquid beverages that you can consume, 21% prefer carbonated soft drinks. The only category that was bigger was bottled water. Mm-hmm. So continuing with our industry and market analysis, some consumer trends like sustainability and clean labels are having a significant impact on the carbonated soft drink market. Consumers are more and more skeptical of all these artificial ingredients like aspartame and sucralose and are gravitating towards the natural alternatives like stevia. So as consumers are becoming more and more ingredient conscious, they're increasingly choosing beverages made with fewer, cleaner components. If customers feel like their drinks fall short on taste, they're going to seek out other alternatives. So it's important to have a great tasting drink as well. So 24% of added sugar comes from sugar drinks such as soda, fruit drinks, sport drinks, and energy drinks. Men, on average, every day consume 19 teaspoons of added sugar, while women consume 15 teaspoons of added sugar every day. Growth projections for the Better For You segment is expected to be 75% in the next 4 to 5 years, while diet sodas are projected to grow at only 30%.
Okay, so Mary took a look at all the way from global down to the United States, down to, and then looked at the customer, the way they're viewing it. And I'm going to take a look at Zevia itself within the market. Zevia is continuing to grow, across the retail network and expanding distribution. With what Zevia makes, it fits well because consumers crave their classic soda flavors like root beer and cola because it provides them with something they're familiar with, and that is Zevia's top sellers. Zevia distributes its products over 25,000 locations in the United States and Canada. And Zevia has plans to start expanding globally in the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, and Mexico. However, as of March 2026, they have not entered the global market yet. So continuing on here, this is just a chart that I made up that it's showing a comparison of Coke and Pepsi versus Zevia from 2021 to 2025 to give you an idea of, even though Zevia has developed into a nice middle-sized company, compared to those two, they're just not very big. So it shows while Zevia has had steady growth, it lags far behind Coke and Pepsi. It highlights the Zevia's scale disadvantage in carbonated beverage market. Zevia's sales grew from 131 million to 153 million, compared to Coke's growth from 19.4 billion to 24 billion, and Pepsi's growth from 15.8 billion to 18.8 billion. And again, that's from 2021 to 2025. So big difference. So now we're going to move on to the Pestle. Pestle examines how external factors affect a business. This analysis helps businesses determine how these factors will affect their performance and strategy in the long term. So the P is for political. Political factors affect Zevia through government policies and regulations. Zevia participates in the non-GMO project verification. It's a nonprofit organization whose mission is to offer rigorous verification and trustworthy education that empowers the consumer. By participating in this, it helps Zevia promote the better for you, but at the same time, the program may change, and as it changes, then Zevia has to adjust their product to make sure it's in alignment with that non-GMO verification. We also have the Food Safety Modernization Act. They have to aim to prevent foodborne illnesses. This is a regulations that when they do partner with third party for their manufacturing, so all those facilities have to maintain those standards. Thing is, though, even if there's a failure at one of those third party manufacturers or distributors, Zevia is still liable for it because it is their product. So it still affects them, and changes made there too they would have to update. Zevia must comply with all labeling standards. California made this Prop 65, and that increased the burden of compliance. Environmental compliance is a major factor for Zevia. Packaging materials have an environmental impact. Maintaining this sustainability requires ongoing investment in environmentally responsible practices. Again, they use the aluminum cans, keeps them out of the plastics world. And then another political thing is the tariffs. We all know that that's been going back and forth. And aluminum is primarily brought into the United States. We want to import a lot of it. So tariffs can have a pretty big effect on their packaging material. So economics, obviously the big one is inflation. Economic factors affect Zevia in several ways. Inflation can affect rising costs of raw materials, such as the stevia, the citric acid, the caffeine, the aluminum cans, as well as transportation and distribution costs. The cost of aluminum cans is no longer a simple unit cost. It is a complex cost structure that is influenced by raw materials, energy, manufacturing efficiency, logistics, and supplier strategy. Consumer spending trends is another thing that can affect them. Have a significant impact on sales. In 2025, the Channel Media Group conducted a survey of 2,075 participants asking about their spending habits. The survey showed that 58% of consumers are willing to switch brands for better pricing. The cost of a single Zevia at Walmart equates to about 94 cents, while the cost of the single can of Diet Coke is about 70 cents. Because the Zevia is a higher price point, it makes them sensitive to economic downturn. Shifts in retail channel can affect growth for small brands like Zevia. Retailers use a variety of criteria for shelf placement, and let's face it, they're not going to put Diet Coke, they're not going to put Zevia on the eye level shelf. Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi are going to get that, and Zevia is going to be down on the bottom shelf. It's just the way it works. Zevia has increased its retail distribution partnership in late 2024. Zevia expanded its Walmart distribution for more than 800 stores to now being available nationally at more than 4,300 Walmart stores. So that's a big increase. Social. So obviously, social, Zevia's got something going for it there with the health consciousness of the American people. Social factors affecting Zevia center on rising awareness of health consciousness and growing demand for clean label product. It's no secret many consumers are trying to live healthier these days. This trend supports Zevia's values: zero sugar, naturally sweetened, non-GMO beverages. Many consumers prefer stevia to artificial sweeteners. It's extracted from a plant rather than made in a lab. Younger consumers want transparency, sustainability, and wellness. Zevia is targeting their products to Gen Z, millennials, and younger Gen X segment. Consumers want eco-friendly practices. In 2019, Nielsen survey found that roughly 73% of global consumers prefer brands that demonstrate a commitment to sustainability. Zevia exclusively uses recyclable aluminum cans for their products, which resonates with these customers. Many consumers are willing to pay more for beverages that are considered a higher quality or a premium product, and that is where Zevia is. It's the higher quality product.
Right, so technological factors have a major impact on all businesses, and Zevia is no different. So because they rely on those third-party manufacturers to stay on top of automation and quality control systems, if they fail to do that, Zevia is at risk of not being successful. So methods to improve extraction of stevia may come along, and again, Zevia may have to adapt and balance the technological advances with consumer expectations. Improved logistics and forecasting tools help better manage inventory across the retail channels. So they need to maintain a proactive approach in managing and planning its supply chain logistics to avoid any disruptions in the future. Digital marketing has transformed all businesses, how they reach and engage with their target markets. So social media partnerships, and they can partner with influencers. That's a key category for this niche beverage market. They can partner with other social media platforms and influencers. E-commerce provides a great opportunity for beverage brands, but they have to be careful about how they integrate the inventory software with that e-commerce platform. A lot of research and testing needs to be done to ensure seamless integration. And research and development could help Zevia create new flavors and improve the quality of the ones they have. Functional drinks are growing in mass appeal. If we look at our little chart here on the screen, consumers are interested in possibly having drinks that would help support better sleep or support their gut health. So if they could get a research and development leader, they could explore these options and see if those would align with their current missions and values. Legal factors, again, are a factor for every business out there. And as we talked about the Food Safety and Modernization Act and non-GMO requirements before, if any of those requirements change, Zevia is going to have to adapt. Claims about the zero fake colors and zero sugars and zero artificial fake stuff, those are all claims that have to meet very strict guidelines. So Zevia has to use well-supported claims to minimize the risk of lawsuits. They also need to worry about protecting their intellectual property, such as the formulas, the branding, the packaging, their logos, their domain name, things like that. That's important to safeguard Zevia's trust and brand equity. And if Zevia expands internationally like they're planning to, they really have to do extensive market research to make sure that they comply with all of the import and export regulations and labeling requirements. All those things are different than the United States. Environmental factors. We talked about Zevia, prides themselves on being environmentally sustainable. An interesting fact I thought, globally, 66% of consumers considers the sustainability when making purchase decisions. So to go along with this, aluminum cans are infinitely recyclable. 43% of aluminum cans are recycled versus only 20% for plastic bottles. So supporting or having packaged only in aluminum cans that supports their sustainability mission, but also exposes them to varying prices and potential tariffs. The great thing about stevia is it is a water efficient alternative to sugarcane, and it also is a natural pest resistance, which lowers the need for synthetic pesticides. So all of these sustainable qualities closely align with Zevia's identity as a plant-based beverage company that's committed to environmental responsibility. Another great thing about stevia is cultivating it uses less energy-intensive processes than you would have in artificial sweeteners. So this lower energy use reduces its carbon footprint. So that is also a great thing for Zevia to have on their side. Zevia relies on third-party partners to follow all regulations, including waste management and waste reduction. Again, if those manufacturers don't follow the requirements, then Zevia's success is at risk. All right, we're going to talk very briefly about Porter's 5 forces. This is an analysis that's used to identify a company's competitive forces. And the first one we're going to look at is competitive rivalry, which is very high for Zevia. They compete in a crowded beverage market, and the cost of Zevia, as Jim said before, it's 94 cents a can versus Diet Coke at 70 cents a can. It makes it easy for consumers to switch brands. Zevia's marketing budget in 2024 was $57.1 million, compared to Coke's $5.1 billion marketing budget and Pepsi's $3.9 billion marketing budget. So Coke and Pepsi, obviously with their marketing budgets, have cultivated substantial brand loyalty amongst their products, and Zevia's got to try to compete with that. There are many new entrants in the better-for-you segment as consumers want healthier options, and many retailers prioritize shelf space for high-volume brands. Top-selling products are going to get placed in the power perimeter, while a smaller company like Zevia might get put on the bottom shelves. The threat of new entrants is medium. It's a growing industry because of that increased demand that we've been talking about. They want the healthier alternatives. Some of these factors driving consumers that are the prevalence of obesity and diabetes. So beverage manufacturers are starting to make moves by combining natural sweeteners with functional benefits and the clean label approach to appeal to these health-conscious consumers. However, achieving nationwide distribution and competing with these established brands takes significant capital investments, and building that trust takes a significant amount of time. So therefore, many new startups may struggle with the manufacturing and distribution of their products.
All right, moving on to the bargaining power of suppliers. We consider that medium to low, and a big part of the reason for that is just simply there's not a lot of ingredients in Zevia. Zevia is not buying a lot of different things, so therefore they got a little more. The bargaining power is a little lower. Zevia, they only contain the few ingredients. They package their products only in aluminum cans. There are multiple suppliers of the stevia leaf around the world, throughout the world. So they have options, and they do have some contracts going there that helps maintain. The suppliers of aluminum have some power because they can exert control of the prices. However, Zevia's got some contracts in place that helps with that, and stevia is growing in the global market, and Zevia volume plus potential long-term contracts can partly offset all that leverage. Looking at bargaining power of the buyers, the bargaining power of buyer is high because the consumer and the retailer have a large influence. Retailers control the shelf placement, like Mary was saying, shelf placement, and may give higher priority to the high volume sales. That's just the normal way it is. Consumers can easily switch to a lower cost product or a trendier product. Zevia is sold online through major retailers such as Amazon. This makes comparison shopping convenient, which raises the buyer's power but also slightly reduces the supplier power. Threats of substitutes, we consider that high. Threats of substitutes can be high because people can swap out and choose not to drink a soda beverage. They could switch to the traditional diet sodas. They can also switch to some of these functional beverages that are coming out these days: sparkling water, flavored water, teas, and other better for you soda. So there are substitutes that are out there. Because there are many alternatives offer comparable flavor and hydration at similar price points, Zevia must consistently reinforce its health-forward positioning and zero sugar mission to remain compelling to the consumer.
All right, so we're going to talk about the SWOT analysis, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This gives an organization an opportunity to look at internal and external forces that may create opportunities or have risks for the organization. So the strength of Zevia is they have a very strong health-focused brand identity, and the characteristics that we've been talking about align well with health-conscious consumers. Zevia is adding to its expanding its distribution and gaining increased visibility. So recently, Zevia announced that you can now buy Zevia in Canada at multiple locations. Their product line is soda, energy drinks, and organic tea. So this helps diversify revenue streams and fit the better for you trends. Their commitment to social and environmental impacts allows them to differentiate themselves from traditional soda companies. This strengthens brand trust. And recent quarters have shown that they have better operating metrics and gains in gross margins. A weakness, they're unprofitable. So even though they've had gains, they still are unprofitable. This reflects some challenges that they had in sustaining sales momentum due to some distribution issues, and also tariffs could also impact this profitability. So we talked about Zevia's marketing budget at $57 million, which is a lot of money, but not when you compare themselves to Coke and Pepsi. But they recently re-expanded their packaging, and all of this costs money. So that's going to that could delay the profitability some more if they keep investing in their marketing. They're still a very small player against Coke and Pepsi, so they lack the same retailer leverage that they do. Currently, Zevia's household penetration rate is about 4%. Zevia has achieved solid mainstream visibility, but it still lacks a presence in convenience stores where traditional soda brands dominate those impulse purchases. And there's been inconsistent performance due to some distribution interruptions, rising costs, and the tariffs. The revenue growth has not been smooth. The changes have been more of a step change.
All right, on to opportunities. Big obvious one, expanding globally opens new opportunities for growth. There's an opportunity for growth in Canada and select markets where there are high concerns of the health risks associated with the artificial sweeteners. Many of these global markets may lack products use the stevia as a natural sweetener. They should lead with channels that they already work with, like in North America, like stores like Sam's Club and Costco, mass retailers like Walmart and Target, and e-commerce. They could also take advantage of Amazon's international e-commerce platform to test pricing and demand before committing to working with major international retailers. They could further leverage eco-friendly. It's something that we noticed was that they really focus on the better for you part of it, and they do bring up the eco-friendly part, but not nearly as much. And we were talking, we think that they could latch onto that a little more and go after the people that are looking to be eco-friendly. This may attract environmentally conscious consumers. They could expand into convenience stores, as Mary has mentioned already, food service industry, and mass retail channels. This could significantly increase the volume. A big opportunity that they see, this came from Amy Taylor, is to sell singles because it's amazing. All these years, all we've done is the business in the multi-packs. And then she went on to say, so our biggest strategic opportunity is to introduce cold singles at every distribution point possible to continue to drive trial and expand the base. Sounds like a great place to look at. They could also expand into flavored sparkling water, enhanced energy drinks, and electrolyte replacements like Gatorade, that type of a beverage. They don't do anything with that currently. So as consumers shift towards wellness and reduce sugar, Zevia can create more products to tailor to consumers' wants. Zevia could utilize key metrics to entice consumers to switch. So it's an area for growth. The T is for threats. And there is an intense competition in the beverage market. Zevia competes with traditional soda brands as well as fast-growing natural brands. Tariffs on aluminum is a major factor for Zevia since they only package their product in cans. Because they're a small company, they lack the purchasing power that Coke and Pepsi would have. Revenue misses can weaken investors' relations, confidence in the company. When company reports revenue below expectations, investors may question if demand is slowing due to competitors having upper hand, is distribution weakening, or the promotions ineffective. The ingredients and packaging requirements can have price change that affect the margins, especially because Zevia relies on third-party suppliers. If Zevia's third-party manufacturers fail to keep pace with manufacturing improvements and technology, the company's success could be at risk. And because they are a small company, they face the pressure from the retailers about pricing and placement on the shelves, as we've discussed before. Retailers use a variety of criteria to determine shelf placement. Retailers prioritize high turnover, high margin national brands, which makes it more difficult for Zevia to secure prime shelf space. To combat retailer bargaining power, they should tap more into the e-commerce channels and club stores to diversify their options. Take a look at operations and change management. Zevia aims at improving profitability. Recent actions reflect a pattern of reallocating spending, refining products, offering, and recalibration distribution strategies, all aimed at improving profitability while rebuilding brand momentum. They trimmed overhead and optimized production costs to prioritize margin recovery after volume expansion. Recently updated packaging to reinforce the better for you identity. Zevia operates a deliberately lean and asset-light model. This structure provides meaningful flexibility, enabling Zevia to scale production, shift capacity, and manage costs without burden of owned facilities. Zevia's recent actions suggest it's willing to make tough structural changes when needed, not just cosmetic ones. Strategic plans and efforts. So this is taking a look at some of the efforts we'd like to see in the strategic plan. Zevia's strategic direction centers on three core pillars: strengthening marketing, accelerating product innovation, and expanding distribution. Management has articulated a clear intent to sharpen brand identity, enhance taste and formulation through ongoing innovation, and increase product accessibility by broadening retail and channel reach. Operationally, the company has expanded stevia sourcing, continued to pursue additional manufacturing partnerships, and conduct annual or as-needed evaluations of production and service arrangements to maintain flexibility.
All right, so when we look at the product flow to get Zevia into the hands of consumers, it all starts with the concept development. So this is where the company identifies customer needs, opportunities, and category gaps. Then moves on to product formulation and testing, where Zevia does some of its own research and development, and they work very closely with external suppliers to create, test, launch, and improve their products. Then they schedule production with third-party manufacturing partners, and after that it moves on into the packaging and labeling portion, where they get the labels applied, variety pack assembly, and case packing. Finished goods are then transferred to third-party logistics and warehouses, and then it finally moves on into the stores, and then eventually, hopefully, into the hands of the consumers.
All right, recommendations. This is where we move into. Yep, you started with that one.
Oh, sorry, that's my turn. So we're going to first talk about the product and portfolio strategy. So we want Zevia to protect and scale the core soda platform by expanding the leading flavors and launching limited time and variety packs to drive trial and household penetration, targeting a move from around 4% to 20% household penetration over the next several years. Some of the things that they could try would be these limited time offerings where they create a flavor and then only sell it for a time, and it's going to hopefully drive customers to try it and like it and get hooked on the product. They could innovate research and development to develop those new flavors, and then channel specific packaging for convenience, club stores, food service, and impulse-driven retail. For the brand and customer experience, they could shift from a heavy point of purchase and retailer-driven tactics to sustained and integrated brand building that emphasizes taste, zero sugar without trade-offs, and clean ingredients via social media, digital marketing, and sensory-driven campaigns. They could continue to refresh their packaging and visual identity so it communicates the things that make them different from all the other soda brands, which are calorie-free, naturally sweetened, and recyclable. This could help them also have increase their in-store visibility at Walmart, club stores, and mass market channels.
All right. Two of the recommendations. This was one that we noticed right away, is that they don't have add a chief innovation officer to evaluate innovation, sensory testing, and formulation science above basic project management, and reduce time to market for the new SKUs. Add a director of digital experience and growth to drive data-driven growth, social influencer-driven trials, direct-to-consumer style testing, and real-time optimization. Doing this, you would still preserve Kristen Suarez's role as Chief Marketing Officer, as a brand and cross-channel strategy leader, working in conjunction with the new digital experience and growth leader. Operations and supply chain and chain management. We're looking at creating a productivity initiative as a continuous improvement framework with formal KPIs for cost and per unit, freight, warehousing, and promotional effectiveness by channel and SKU. Maintain an asset-light third-party manufacturing and logistics model, but deepen collaboration with contract manufacturers and ingredient suppliers so that innovation and cost savings are tightly synchronized. Create a cross-functional change management and innovation committee consisting of the CEO, the CMO, and the Chief Innovation Officer and Director of Digital Experience and Growth that meets quarterly to review new initiatives, innovations, and channel performance data. In governance and measurements, adopt a balanced scorecard framework aligned with 4 strategic perspectives: financial, customer and brand, internal process and innovation, and learning and growth. Use this framework to drive quarterly strategy reviews, board sessions, and investor communications that highlight progress toward near break-even household penetration and innovation success rate.
All right, so this is the balanced scorecard Jim was just talking about. So this will help An organization determine the performance across several perspectives, including the financial, customer and brand, internal process and innovation, and learning and growth. The first one we'll talk about is the financials. This is kind of the things that we recommend that they have for objectives, along with their key performance indicators and the target of when we want to achieve this goal. So the first one is improve profitability and cash flow, and this would monitor the key performance indicators that would be monitored would be the net loss, gross margin, and operating margin. We want to narrow that net loss towards break-even point and then maintain the gross margin in the high 40% to low 50% range. Sustained revenue growth by monitoring the net sales, the channel mix where they're selling the products and what retail stores, the club stores, convenience stores, and direct to consumers. We want to see an increase of 5 to 8% in annual revenue growth between 2026 and 2028. We want to strengthen the financial health by looking at our cash positions, working capital turnover, and our debt to equity ratios. We want to maintain that $25 million that they have in cash and unused $20 million credit line to stay debt free. For the consumer and brand objectives, we want to increase brand awareness in the trial. We can monitor these by looking at the trial rates, coupon redemption rates, and brand awareness through certain surveys. Our target is to increase the key channels by 10 to 15% and have a 20% or greater trial increase for new SKUs. We want to deepen loyalty and penetration by looking at our repeat purchase rates and household penetration rates. And again, our goal is to go from 4% up to hopefully approaching 20% household penetration and 10 to 15% increase in repeat purchase for the core SKUs that they have. We want to expand our distribution reach by looking at the number of SKUs per retailer, the shelf presence in each one of those stores, and hopefully, things go well, we'll add 100 to 200 new doors annually in convenience stores and in mass store or maintained stores in their mass retail and club presence.
Okay, moving on to the internal process and innovation. So our first strategic objective is improve product and innovation success. Doing this, our key performance indicator will be number of SKUs launched, percent of SKUs meeting or exceeding 12-month volume targets. The target will be 80% of new SKUs meet that volume targets. The next strategic objective will be optimize operations and product cost structure. The key performance indicator there will be cost per unit, freight and warehouse costs, inventory turnover. Targets will be maintain or reduce cost per unit, lock in $20 million in productivity initiative savings. The next strategic objective is going to be accelerate time to market. Time from the key performance indicator there is going to be key time from concept to launch. So from when they first come up with the idea to when it gets into the hand of the consumer. And the target there is to reduce time to market for new SKUs by 14 to 20% over the next 3 years. On to learning and growth. Our first strategic objective is going to be strengthening research and development and innovation capabilities. Key performance indicator here is going to be the percent of employees trained in innovation or R&D methods, use of design thinking, and sensory testing protocols. And our target will be 70 to 90% of R&D commercial staff trained in structured innovation methods by the year 2027. The next strategic objective will be embedded digital management discipline. The key performance there will be use digital channel dashboards, share of market spend in digital versus traditional. The target there is going to be 40 to 60% of marketing spend directed through digital and performance-driven channels by the year 2028. And then our final one is the institutionalized change management discipline. The key performance indicator there is going to be frequency of cross-functional reviews, quarterly innovation reviews, percent of innovation projects delivered on time. So our target there is going to be quarterly strategic reviews, 80% or better of cross-functional projects delivered on time and within budget. Our next slide here, this is our timeline. So everything we just talked about, we need to set dates, and that's what this is. It tells you the dates for each one of these strategic plans, the completion. So, and thank you for watching, and this is our project here. So
Go grab a nice cold Zevia.
there you go. Have a good day.